I mean, I don't think it's the podcast without the intro.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
All right, I want to hear it.
All right, we're already recording. So
Start it.
welcome back, everybody. And this is Dan, and we're back to a table.
We are.
So across the table from me are two gentlemen, and one of them is Brother John.
Yes, that's me, ladies and gentlemen. And across from me is the Dan Snow,
John,
and also the Greater Snow. So I've heard.
the greater
The
Snow.
other Dan, that's great.
Yes.
The other
The
Dan.
great
that's
one. Yeah, that's right.
The
I
great
get
one.
it.
Who is it? What's your name?
Daniel.
I
They
actually
say
didn't
name.
know that.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're not a junior. I'm not a junior,
He's a
though.
Daniel James. I'm a Daniel Wayne.
Yeah, so I'm not a junior.
D.
See,
Wayne.
my mom told me years ago that God told her to name me Daniel.
Really?
Yeah, so it meant nothing, but
It doesn't mean anything, but hey,
Yeah.
Guys, it's,
There's the
it's,
name.
It's,
I remember her telling me that, and I'll have to ask her now, and she goes, I don't remember saying that. I go, it was weird, Mom. I just remember you saying God told me to name you Daniel. I go, okay.
interesting.
I did whatever. That's hilarious.
It's Dan's dad, guys.
Yep.
That's right.
Yep.
Take
Taking
him.
time out of my grandkids' schedule.
Literally. Two new ones now.
That's
Oh, yeah.
right. 8 now. We're doing well.
Crazy.
He
Crazy.
wants,
We
he
are
wants
doing
everybody to have 5. You want everyone to have 5 each. Technically, was that what you used to say?
5 each.
Yeah.
To have 20 grandkids.
Well, I mean, depending on how many you and Kate have, whoever we can find for Jeannie. And once Amanda has her 6 or 7, we'll be fine.
6 or 7. I don't think you're getting one more out of Dustin. I think
Good
he's done.
night.
No, that's true.
He's quitting. Goodness.
Yeah, I think he's done. He got the boy.
Yeah.
See, I got Daniel, so I didn't care.
Yeah.
If I would have had a girl, who knows?
Yeah.
You wanted
That's
to
the reason I wonder if Becca and Jacob will have one more.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Well, I told.
because of that, but
I
maybe not.
remember I prayed for Dustin. I got a boy. I didn't pray for Becca or Amanda. I got a girl.
That's really
And I-
funny.
I can't help it. And then I prayed, and I got Daniel. So
You
That's
I
really
don't know if that
amazing.
was a cursing or a blessing.
I don't know, man.
I didn't pray and I got Becca. That is something I am so bringing up to them. You know, Dad didn't pray and he got stuck
No,
with you.
I think
Dad.
I've told them that actually.
Dude, that's so mean.
I don't hide that.
I did. Well, I did pray for Rosie, and we're having a girl.
Did you?
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
There you go.
I didn't pray for her specifically. I just prayed that we would have one.
John's first kid's coming in January. It's coming up now.
Yeah, January.
right?
3 months out.
That's crazy.
Yep.
Are your
wild.
parents excited?
They're really excited. My mom is
Of course they are.
pumped.
I know. I'm just.
Yeah.
I wonder. I was like, is your mom?
Men are excited. They keep it more to themselves.
Yeah.
Women are all gooey and guy over that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right off the bat, 5. If you could pick 5 liquids to come out of each of your fingers, what would they be?
What? That's the.
I
that's
heard-
the segment you. Come
I heard this question today, and I thought it was amazing. If you could pick 5
5
liquids to dispense out of your fingertips, what would they be?
Chocolate syrup.
That would be one of them.
Well, you're asking.
I was gonna start with water.
I mean, that's a good survival one, but chocolate syrup, I want to hear what your 5 would be.
Well, it's not something I really think about much. What would come out?
Well, okay, Dan, okay, we'll go.
Say I would do.
We'll go
I would do
around.
water.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably do chocolate milk.
Yep.
The
Yep.
question is though, like
Butter pecan.
Butter pecan.
what?
Oh, I say chocolate shake.
Okay.
chocolate shake. Okay.
Okay.
So right now you got chocolate syrup and a chocolate shake.
Yes. Reese's peanut butter cup blizzard shake. I miss those. I miss them.
That's 3 out of the 5 you get.
So right now it sounds like my dad. You would die. If he,
Yeah, you would.
Oh, it would never be healthy.
no.
You would get diabetes.
People would die. If,
Are you a coffee drinker?
yeah, I like coffee.
Would you probably?
Would you
You probably.
coffee? It can be whatever flavor you wanted. Like your.
Yeah,
like-
just regular Dunkin'. I'm just plain.
yeah.
Nice.
I don't like anything. I don't like all that fancy stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
Your
All the-
mom
all the
gets her
fancy stuff.
frappes and all that. I'm just black.
My dad is not racist.
No.
No, I drink black coffee.
Yeah.
That is
I would have to
hilarious.
do. I would do. One of mine would be gasoline.
Oh, that's unfair.
That'd be good.
That's a
money.
good point.
See what I'm saying? You'd save so much money.
That would save
That
a
would
ton
be
of money.
good money.
Could you imagine though? They're standing there with like your finger in the gas, like the gas can.
No.
They'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Where did you hear that today?
I listened. I heard it on a podcast. I listened to a bunch of podcasts, and they asked
Oh.
that question. I was like, I gotta ask that.
That's really interesting.
Gasoline is one of mine. Another one would be saline solution for me.
Why?
I go through so much saline solution
Is
because
that the context?
I have contacts.
Oh, okay.
I always need saline solution.
I feel like I would definitely do gasoline because that. How much money would that save you?
Yeah.
And how much you could sell it for?
You
True.
just walk up to somebody at the light and go, here,
Yep.
Yeah,
give me $20.
That's amazing. I would do gasoline, saline solution, and then I would do sweet tea.
Sweet tea.
I would do
Come on. I might
Chocolate
say-
milk. It's got to be in
I
there.
love chocolate milk. Do you like chocolate milk? Were
I
you
like anything chocolate.
okay?
Yeah.
Do you like chocolate bars though? I'm not.
I
I'm
love Hershey almond. I love Hershey.
really.
Mm.
I like everything flavored chocolate, but like a Hershey's bar, I don't care for. Like,
Really?
that's why I wondered.
Plain, yeah.
I watched
Yeah.
a special on Foods That Made America, and the guy that did Reese's peanut butter cup, his
Mhm.
last name was Reese.
I
Yeah.
didn't know
When
that.
they fired him, Hershey could have owned Reese. He invented the Reese peanut butter, overtook him.
Wow.
So if
That's
he wouldn't have
amazing.
fired him,
Interesting.
Reese would have been under Hershey.
That's
It
amazing.
was a pretty
Wow.
cool story.
That's interesting.
That is
Yeah.
very
That's like
interesting.
the McDonald's story. I never saw the movie, but they made the movie about the
Yeah,
guy
they
that
did.
basically
It's a
took
good
the
movie.
idea or something, or however it worked. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's interesting.
Kinda
Yeah, I
rough.
haven't seen it.
Yeah, it was.
My last one would be water. So I got gas, saline solution,
Well, I don't
chocolate,
have water to
chocolate
live
milk, water, and what was the other one I said? Can't remember.
So what happens if like you go to fill your tank up and you use the wrong finger?
That's what I'm saying.
You put like chocolate.
You
milk
take it to the
in your tank.
mechanic. You
That's what
got
I'm saying.
you got a tank full of chocolate milk here.
Full of chocolate milk here.
This is the first I've ever seen that.
You're like, yeah.
That would be weird. I wouldn't do
Oh
it.
no, that was a gasoline one.
Yeah, but you just do all chocolate desserts, liquid desserts.
Yeah, because if I could eat, I would eat Reese's, Hershey's. I would
That's all
eat.
you'd eat.
I would. I would
Yeah.
eat. I mean, if I could, yeah, I would.
That's
I
it.
mean,
Oh,
Period.
and honestly, like Fritos, just junk food. Man.
you could eat. Yeah, yeah. Well, I remember you. One of my memories is Fritos you loved, and then corn
Frito.
nuts.
Corn
Oh,
nuts.
yeah.
You would
corn
eat
nuts.
corn like
I
we'd be.
can't eat. I get worried about breaking my teeth on those.
Have you ever had corn
Oh.
nuts?
Yeah, they're like
It's
hard
like eating,
and
it's like eating little pebbles.
yeah.
They're not. They're good.
But I just remember
My
like
mom
driving
used to
down
eat
the
them.
road with Dad on the way to work somewhere,
Mhm.
and he would have coffee. You always have coffee, and just be sitting there. You just hear a bunch of firecrackers from those corn nuts, just eating. And then he'd whistle, and everyone in the neighborhood could hear him whistle.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Right.
remember one time Steve Julius said he was at home, and you text him that you were driving by. He goes, "I heard him whistle when he drove by. My dad can whistle." You ever hear that Tim Hawkins bit on whistling?
No.
That he made that joke. Tim Hawkins said like my dad had a whistle. He's like my dad would whistle and like kids from other neighborhoods would come. And he's like I whistle. He's like dogs and cats show up and
Yeah.
taxi drivers. And I'm like, it's so true. My dad's got a whistle and like I can't whistle. Because imagine like yelling at my kids.
I know.
No one's gonna.
I remember as a kid with the ice cream man would go by, and you'd always yell "stop"
Yeah.
because you wanted to get ice cream.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we wouldn't get ice cream. We just yell to stop. So you would go
You would
by,
just yell for him to stop.
stop, and we'd hide and watch him stop, and he'd wait, and then he'd start to go again. We go, wait a minute, and then he would sit there, we wait, watching. Yeah, we were
Can you
kind of
imagine being that ice cream truck?
That's amazing.
Oh man. So I want to dive in since we only have 4 hours.
Yeah.
I want to dive in, Dad. Tell us your. Have you ever heard my dad's testimony?
I've never heard your dad testimony. No.
It's so interesting,
Well,
and how you got into Hope though, like that whole shindig.
all right, we're getting serious now.
I've never been. I was never around when you were like a member at Hope. You
Yeah,
were
'cause we-
gone.
we
No,
were
I
gone.
didn't come
Was-
till we left in 02.
Really?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, were you there when his dad was there? Like
No, he
No.
came about a year,
04.
year and a half later.
So you-
04,
04,
years.
yeah.
So you met him after you left, Pastor John, technically.
Well, I knew him, but
oh
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Did,
Every-
you know his dad?
Everybody knows us.
I knew him. I mean, they were
Just
in
playing.
church and stuff.
Yeah, okay. But anyway, so yeah, I don't know if you ever heard his testimony, but I was gonna have Dad tell it because
I want to hear it.
I was born white Caucasian back in 1960. No, I
No way, he's white.
you know, it's funny. I mean, I'm not going into details, but
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I born in the. You know, you just kind of say you were born in the far country.
Mhm.
Born there. I didn't go there.
Right.
I was born there.
Yeah, yeah.
And then back about 85, I was hanging around my aunt because I was
Bonnie,
staying with my aunt.
Yeah.
Staying with my aunt Bonnie, and then going to work because we worked the same place.
Hmm.
And then
didn't
we
know that.
both started talking about Bible,
Yeah.
and it was, I don't know what happened. We just started talking about the Bible, reading the Bible. We were reading Revelation.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the weirdest thing. When I look back on it, it was so odd. And then we started watching the 700 Club together. And they would always give the gospel and tell you how to get saved. And you'd pray out loud, you know, ask Jesus in my heart.
Mhm.
And so for that went on for, I guess, a year. And then I was dating a girl that was in the occult. And
was
we
what?
would go to these
He
meetings.
was in a cult, like an actual cult.
Yeah, well, they would do these table tapping things in the basement. It was like
Did you show up?
20
Were they
people.
like?
No,
It was- that's from a
like
TV
Raymond.
show.
No, it wasn't that episode.
Okay.
But it was real.
Yeah.
I knew then there was a true God that wanted me, and there was a true devil that wanted me.
Yeah,
I knew.
Yeah.
So I go, this is going on here. God's going on here. What am I going to do?
hmm
Yeah.
And I remember that because it was such a weird. The one
was
time
Aunt
we
Bonnie?
did it was they were table tapping. I'll just tell you this story because it's weird.
What is table tapping?
Everybody puts their hands on the table and they pray. I can't remember. We prayed to this. I can't. It's been.
Was it
40
like a
years ago.
statue?
No, it was something up there. They had a trumpet. If you do this long, here's what they would say. If you got this trumpet up here, it would blow.
Yeah.
If you do this long enough. At the table, you put your hand on it and go, who would you want to talk to? And the table would move on its own.
Mm.
It was the weirdest thing.
Really?
And I
Is that
remember sitting here, I'm
seance?
looking on the table and I go, this is real. I wasn't scared, but I go, this is weirdly real.
Right.
Weirdly real. So I remember they go, who do you want to talk to next? And they go, who would you want to? I can't remember. I go, I'd like to talk to my great grandfather. I was goofing around, being stupid.
Yeah.
And they go, who do you want to talk to? And that table literally went like that. I mean, it was just, I was just sitting in my hand. I went, wow. That's when I knew
Really?
something was up. And then
Yeah.
the girl was asking it down the road who she was going to marry. And I'm like, I'm out of this situation. So
That's
but
scary.
I knew it was real.
Wow.
I knew Jesus. I knew God was real. I didn't know it was Jesus Christ and all that, but I knew. And then it was probably a year. I got pretty wild for a while again, and then I got burned out on everything. I go, is this all there is to life?
Mm.
You know, just working and you know.
I mean, yeah.
And then Bonnie, I gave up because they always said in the 700 Club when you get saved, they would always say, you got to say, God, I'll give everything up for you, something to that effect. And I
Right.
remember I couldn't give up. I didn't want to give up my drinking at that time.
Yeah.
And so I felt like I would pray, Jesus, come into my heart. But there was this doubt that I was holding on to something.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So I think I got saved when I did it. God doesn't make it hard.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
If you ask Jesus in your heart, he's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what happened was I prayed that prayer over and over again. And then one day they came, the 700 Club was on again, and they said, you got to do other heart. And I said, I can't do this. I can't do it. I can't give everything up. I can't do it. And then Aunt Bonnie looked at me and she said, like the next day after I gave up, she goes, Dan, I did it.
Really?
And I went, and that just a conviction came over me.
Yeah.
Bonnie goes, I did it. I asked Jesus to save me. And then all of us, it was miserable the next day.
Really?
And then I was just sitting there going, God, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there one night watching Danuta on the TV.
I have
And
no
I was
idea what that
looking
is.
for
I don't know what that is either.
Her name was Danuta, the lady on the 700 Club. And she said, there's
okay,
somebody out
okay.
there
Oh.
that is lost, that is confused, and God is going to bring light.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to bring light into your life, something like that. And I just went, that was for me. I was so desperate, it didn't matter what she said. I would have took it.
Right.
And that changed my life. It was that day forward. But before that happened, I went somewhere, and I'm not going to say where. I went somewhere one time, and when I was there in that place, I remember in my mind, I never forgot it, the Lord goes, your conscience, however you want to look at it.
Right. Yeah.
It just, the thought, he goes, this is wicked.
Mm-hmm.
And I went,
Yeah.
and I remember sitting there going, the heck is that? You know what I mean? You're like, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So I think I was saved.
Really?
Because you don't know, nobody convicts you of doing wicked
Right.
unless you've got something in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then anyway, so then I got saved. And then after I got saved, I started going to churches, and I was bored.
Mm-hmm.
I was only saved a month, and we'd go to these. I was telling everybody at work about the Lord and witnessing like crazy, and it was rough 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd go to this church, and I'm like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I go to this church, and I went to a Methodist church. That was even more boring. And I just looked at the Lord, and I went home one day after church at the Methodist church, and I cried, and I said, God, I'm not going to church no more.
Mm-hmm.
If this is how boring this is, and I'm not getting anything, I
Yeah.
go, why would I go?
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I was watching TV again one night, and they said Baptists were known for their preaching. So I was living across from Hope in And I go, Bonnie, let's try. I told Bonnie we were going to church together.
And this is the old building, Hope, right?
Yeah.
On Glendale,
So
right?
we went to a
Glendale.
Missionary Alliance church, and then I went to a Methodist church. And then I go, well, there's two. The guy said Baptists are known for their preaching. So I go, let's try this.
Yeah.
So we went, I think I went to Hope first.
Mm-hmm.
Then I
Okay.
went to the church next to him, Southern Baptist. He called me out from the pulpit. He goes, we got some visitors. What's your name? That ticked me off because I didn't want to.
I'm out.
But when
He said, nope.
when Pastor Sal preached,
He peeled the paint.
yeah, he said things I never heard from TV.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I go, this is interesting. And so then I go, I'm going back there. So Bonnie stayed home that night. I still went back. I remember going to the altar. I'm like, this is weird. Why am I walking in front of people? I didn't want to walk in front of people. So then we just started going. And then I had an NIV.
Mm.
I was listening to Christian rock. I was rough. I got saved and it was such a drastic change.
Yeah.
I've told you the story. The guy at work thought I was gay now because I didn't talk about girls no more. So the change was huge and the men at work saw it.
Yep.
But I was still kind of wild. Does that
Right.
make sense?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I still drank. I drank a little, still smoked. I was still hanging around old friends I shouldn't have, you know. So
Mhm.
then we started going to Hope, and then Pastor Sal started. I was going to Christian rock concerts. I took a date. I always felt like after I got saved, I never kissed a girl again, never held a hand to a girl, never
Mhm.
held hands with a girl. I said, I'm not going to do that. I can only redeem the time I got.
Right.
And your
Yeah.
mother's the only one.
Mm-hmm.
But that's all I got. You know,
Right.
I couldn't change my past.
Yeah.
So I redeemed the time there the best I could. But then I remember taking a girl to a Christian comedian, going to a Striper concert. I remember Pastor Sal ripping it. And I get so mad at him, but I would go back.
Yeah.
But he would preach on it. That's the most devilish thing. And I'm going, you're an idiot, you know?
But
yeah.
you're going back.
Yeah, but I would go back. And-
Yeah.
But getting mad enough, at least I was getting some.
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
gonna say,
Right?
was it?
Yeah.
Were you mad at him? But do you think you kept going back because you thought he was right?
I couldn't
though?
figure out. Well, I got
Or-
in a pulpit. I went into his office. I was newly coming to Hope, fresh on fire for the Lord. I still smoked, and I went into his office and I told him how I got saved. Now this is the young Sal, so he was a little more harsh on that stuff than he would be now.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah. He's a
But I remember
He's a
him looking
grandpa
at me
now.
across-
He's a grandpa.
I'm all excited. I'm talking to the preacher of this church, and I'm going, "Yeah, I got saved. Watch the Ever Club." He goes, "I've heard of people like you." And I remember going, and I remember sitting in the chair going, in my mind, I go, what the heck is that?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I go, whatever, you know. So, and then I had my NIV,
Mhm.
and I read my NIV.
Mhm.
I believe my NIV.
Yeah.
I would read my Bible every night.
Mhm.
And then he would rake across the coals about that devil's version.
Oh
you know?
yeah.
So it was stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
kept going back, and I know, because if you're looking for the truth, God's going to get it.
Yeah.
So I felt like, looking back, it was like the Holy Spirit kept forcing me, and I believe the Lord waited to call me to preach till after I got grounded.
Mhm.
Because I could have which I would have made a lot more money as a TV evangelist. I would've got, you know what I mean? But
Oh, yeah,
I think the
yeah.
Lord got me straightened out before he called me.
Yeah.
Because my sister told me I had a hangover before I got saved. She said, Danny, she don't remember saying it. She goes, you should be a preacher. And I'm sitting there with a hangover looking at her going, what are you talking? So that weird stuff like that, you don't know
Yeah.
how it all.
Yeah.
you know,
Now was Aunt Sue? Was she before or after you got saved?
me after me.
She's
Because
after
I
you.
went over and I went
Oh,
over to
okay,
Sue's and said, Sue, she had a friend there. And I go, Sue, I got saved last night. And I gave her my testimony. And then
That's his
she had a
sister.
friend over there who didn't
Yeah.
like that
Okay.
at all.
Really.
And then we just kept going to Hope. And then after a while, I finally, once I separated from my friends
Yeah.
and I got grounded, then I started to really grow. Because I was
Yeah.
still drinking and I was with Hope. And then, you know, you got to get away from your friends.
Mhm.
They're not, I just went and visited my best man and he has no
Yeah.
desire for the Lord right now.
Yeah.
Really.
Is
But
he,
it's hard.
is
It
he
was
doing
really
better?
hard to talk to him.
wasn't he bad health wise?
No,
I'm
Tim's
thinking of
not.
somebody else. Oh, I'm thinking of Ike. Okay.
Yeah, no. But he
Anyway,
was,
yeah,
I went and spent 2 hours with him
really.
this week. And he knows. He saw me. I told him when I was table tapping.
Yep.
I told him the day I got saved. He saw the whole thing.
Right.
He saw
Yeah.
it firsthand what happened to me. But they were like, Dan, you were in such a mess. You had to do something. They
Oh,
don't.
really?
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we started going to Hope, and everybody befriended us. Your mom thought I was married to Aunt Bonnie.
That's funny. I didn't know
And,
that.
and Bonnie would say to me, Dan, they think we're married. I go, they do not, Bonnie. Yeah, they do. You think I'm married to this young guy? I go, no, they don't. My wife or mom says, yeah, we thought you were married. She said, what's he dating this young guy for?
That's
So,
hilarious.
so
Oh,
anyways,
my.
and then it was just growth. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just listening to the preaching and growing. And I think, the deep stuff I loved. Numerology really hooked me. That's what
Really,
sold me on the Bible.
Studying
'Cause
numbers.
how can you put that stuff together in the
Yeah,
Bible
yeah.
and that kind of thing? That hooked me.
Right.
And then it was just growth and then getting involved in the church and stuff.
And when did you meet Mom?
She was there, but she was still in high school. And when I found out her age, I was checking her out. But when I found out her age, I go, well, I just went, I remember when I check her out, I went, oh, I didn't know she was that young. She didn't look that young.
You're 4 years apart, right? Or
6.
6? Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was 20. I started coming home when I was 23. She was 17, maybe.
Oh, okay.
So I remember checking her out, and when I found out her age, I went, oh no.
Uh-oh.
Well, then I worked with her dad, and her dad set us up.
Yeah.
But I didn't feel right because she was still in high school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw something in her. I told guys at work, I go, if I get married, that's a girl I'm marrying. I
Really?
knew she was a good girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I married her based on, I knew she was a good girl, and once she marries me, she won't be no more.
She's toast. She's toast.
So I met her that way. Your grandpa set us up, but I was still kind of wild, still rough around the edges.
Yeah.
And then I broke it off with her because I wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got grounded, Grandpa Kaywood, he pulled me aside. He scared the crap out of me. He pulled me aside and he said, you better be serious. Don't mess with my daughter. But in fairness, I knew when I went back to go to your mother, it was either marriage or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I knew I couldn't. Even without him saying that to me, I knew
Yeah,
it
yeah.
had to be. I had to really think about it, and then I
Right.
went after.
Yeah.
And then the Lord gave me, when I put my finger in the Bible, I said, Lord, what do you want me to do with her? I don't believe in dating and courting and all this junk they talk about. Whatever. Is this a woman for me or not? That's
Mhm.
what I said.
Yeah.
And I just put my finger in the Bible, and it said, "Whoso findeth the wife findeth a good thing and obtaineth the Lord." And I went, holy cow, that was an answer. So I knew right then she was my wife.
Touchdown.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Touchdown.
Poor mom.
And the Lord did that with my preaching.
Yeah.
He did that twice with preaching. So
My mom
Yeah.
was, I think she was the same way, right? She's like, Lord, do you want me to settle for this guy?
Settle. Oh my,
Man.
so
that's amazing.
it went great. We got married in 6 months and 7 months from then.
Wow.
That's crazy.
And we
Yeah,
got married in like, I'm gonna mess this up. It's not gonna be good. I think we got married in 4 or 5 months.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
pretty quick.
Well, to me, there's no sense.
We knew each other. Yeah.
If you know it's right,
Yeah.
why do you
Yeah.
bridge the gap?
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
The guy over
So-
here that dated for 7 years.
Yeah.
So we just had our anniversary, right?
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, Daniel, she's like, hey, I can't believe it's only been 2 years. And I go, it's because we dated for 10 years, Mom. It
know.
doesn't feel like we've only been married.
Honestly,
2 years.
yeah. When I saw that it was your 2nd year anniversary, I was thinking, really, only 2? I
Yeah.
thought they've been married for like 5 years.
We've been talking for since I was a freshman in high school, which was almost like over 10 years ago now.
Yeah, that's
Well,
crazy.
So, like-
in fairness, that's what keeps my sanity going to Kentucky.
Mm.
Jacob and her.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
if nothing would have come out of that, I would have lost my mind.
well, you went to
Really?
Maryland and Dustin met
And
Bethany.
Bethany.
And
So
we went-
we got our kids. I don't know where Amanda's getting her.
You didn't get sent to Louisville, so that doesn't count.
Florida.
Or we could be. Could be.
It
Sugar
could be.
daddy.
He
Help
might-
us.
Some
He might be
retired
80
guy.
and rich, but just kidding, Jeans. If you're listening.
If he plays pickleball, that's how you
There
know.
you go.
That's hilarious.
Oh, man.
They got
That's cool, though.
they got that Golden Bachelor going on now, dude.
Yeah.
Where it's like that
Do they really?
Yeah, have you
show
seen
with like
it?
60 plus age.
Got ahead of a prenup, probably. Probably got money.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Well, the funny thing is like they try to make them all look so attractive. And,
Yeah.
like,
Oh,
16, 7-year-old women.
Get in old. Exactly.
Lucy
That's 60.
Lucy was watching it the other day, and I'm like, I can't watch. It's
I just-
disgusting.
yeah.
It's nasty. It's watching old women flirt is disgusting. You should never.
Here in like 50 years, we're gonna be like,
It should never be on TV. There's a reason why. There's a reason why you get married when you're young. It should just. It's so hard to watch, man. It's gross. But
I think about when I hug my grandkids, that you got this hair nose coming out. You got hair on your ears. Your breath stinks, and you're wanting to get all over them. You kiss them, and no wonder they're always like, "Get away from me." You know?
I went up to Bella or Ken once and like kissed him, and I like rubbed my beard on him. And my dad used to do that to us.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I was like, "Oh man, I'm turning into my dad." Rub your beard, face is all red from the beard.
I got to start now to get my beard to grow in by the time we
You
have
start now. Here in
Rosie.
a couple years, it'll be really coming in.
I'm trying, dude. I'm trying. I've never done it. I've had a mustache for like 3 years since COVID, but
I shaved the other day a while ago, and I left my mustache.
it's
And I looked at
great.
Kate, and I'm like, "What do you think?" And she actually goes, "I actually kind of like it." I go, "Please no."
And then you
I'm
shaved it
like,
off.
I shaved it off. Like, I'm
Take it
not
off.
keeping the mustache.
I shaved my goatee off last year.
Mhm.
Okay.
I shaved everything off, and Becca and Jacob, what? Because I FaceTimed them.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
Amanda was with them. And then Mom goes, "You look better with it on."
Mm.
Sorry, I had to put holes in.
Yeah.
My throat's sore.
No, you're good.
Oh, you're fine.
No, that's funny. Yeah, I know. I keep. I think I told this story. The reason I keep my beard.
What?
The time that I shaved it, I called Mom and Manda about something, and I shaved completely, like straight razor. And
Yeah.
Manda, I think it was Manda. It was, Daniel, your face looks swollen.
Forget it.
So I'm like,
Forget it.
It looks like the beard's staying from now on.
Oh my.
No,
Such
I
an
got stung by
insult.
a bee under the chin.
yeah,
Just well,
it's what you're the. What
Didn't you get stung by a bee at camp?
twice? I got stung by a bee at camp in the under the eye. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
I still have the picture. On my
Your
phone.
eye swelled up, didn't
It
it?
swelled up underneath. It stung
Oh.
here, and just came
Daniel,
up.
you got stung so much.
Yeah, I think that's why I ended up being allergic. I kept getting stung
Over and over, yeah.
and then I don't know, maybe that's not right, but I remember I kept getting stung, and then like the more it happened, like the worse it got, wasn't it? And then
Yeah.
they're eventually like, well, you're allergic, so
Dude, what's the issue? You
I
couldn't
don't know. We
couldn't get away fast
It
enough?
was just his thing. I don't know.
I was because we were outside at
You'd be
Maryland
out playing and
yeah,
come in yelling.
come in yelling.
Can we do a pause? I gotta go to the bathroom so bad.
Yeah,
I
go ahead.
shouldn't have
Go ahead.
smashed this Arizona before I went.
So, what were we talking about?
What were we talking about? We didn't just do a bathroom break, did we? We did.
Yeah,
Dan,
I'm
tell
trying
me
to remember. We were talking about
tell me about your new job. Dan finally has a life back.
Yeah. So this job is, working for a company. I feel like I can say the name. I don't know if it matters, but it's a German company, and
Yeah, don't say the name.
I'm probably not pronouncing the name right, to be honest. But it's they make their vacuum sealing technology. We just lost a ton of listeners
Yeah.
talking about this thing.
Vacuum
But,
sealing technology.
Vacuum sealing technology. So the interesting thing is the machines that they use. I'm really excited to see because all they told me about them is that they're the size of a football field.
Whoa.
So I'm excited just to see what
How
these
big,
things
have you
are.
seen the building yet?
Wow.
No. Well, they do work with First Solar, so they have multiple places in Toledo.
Hmm. Where's it at?
There's one. Their office is Perrysburg,
Okay.
and then First Solar is right down the road from them, Perrysburg. One of the ones that they work at.
Yeah.
But-
So that's where you're going to be at in Perrysburg?
Yeah, around Perrysburg, depending on which plant we go to.
Yeah. That'll be
So-
nice, man.
And they want me to just do electrical, which is I'm really excited to just
But
do
that's what,
electrical.
yeah. If you liking your job is huge.
Yeah.
And I'm excited. And the nice thing is the guy that I interviewed with, the project manager, he he was an electrician in Germany,
Mhm.
which is going to help because the European electrical code is a little bit different than American. So I'll have him to help me
Mhm.
with that. Which not that electricity works different in Germany, but
Yeah.
they have different color coding stuff like that. So
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
in other
it's-
words, if you put your finger in light socket here, it zaps you would do that in Germany.
no, go ahead and try it.
Let's test it. Let's test it.
We'd always make the joke. We work on electric. You always have like jokes with other people that are in like your work field. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can make jokes with them because they know more what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
anytime you like work on electric, I'd be like, hey, make sure you stand in a bucket of water before you work on it.
There you go. That's what
You'll
you want to
die.
do. You will die.
But either way, but yeah, it's like like when he was telling me, hey, we start at 8 a.m., possibly 6 a.m., depending on what the job is. I'm like, I'm just hearing a.m. and I'm happy, man.
Yes.
I'm hearing you say we're starting at a.m. and it doesn't start with 12 a.m. I am fine with that.
So you're going to be on first shift.
Yeah.
That's amazing,
And
dude.
he said they try not to do over 40 hours just to let you work normal.
Yeah.
So it's 8 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever. If you did
Wow.
take, depending on lunches, whatever.
That's incredible.
But yeah, I am, and they provide you your tools.
There
I
you
ain't
go.
got to buy any tools.
That's everything you need right
Yeah.
there, man.
Cool.
That's
Yeah.
super good.
They have I got to do a. You ever done a fit test before?
I don't think so.
So it's
Like a
really
physical?
for a. So that's what it sounds like, but it's really for a mask in case you have to go into anything that has any type of bad chemical or gases. Like,
Yeah.
I had to do one where I work now because it's paint.
Right.
So, and I have had to use my mask a few times, or pretty good amount of times actually.
Mhm.
But the first time I heard of a fit test, I'm like, I am not in shape. Like, what are they? And then I realized it's just to make sure that you can use a mask.
Hope so.
What is that?
I don't know.
Do you hear that whistle?
That furnace. No, my ears ring all the time. I can't tell. Take a break because the toilet was
Because the toilet was whistling.
Yeah, we thought we were gonna blow up this podcast.
Yeah.
But that's up to you guys.
Yeah.
Our
A lot of
buddies,
people up
all of our buddies out there.
Oh, let's talk about my job. So so that like when I first heard about the fit test, I thought it was like,
You thought you were toast.
yeah, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to be running. You have to run a mile. I'm thinking like Army fit test, you know. And I'm like, I'm not going to be able to get this
Yeah, they send you to boot camp.
before. Like, yeah, but this time when they messaged me, I already knew what it was.
Yeah,
So, but yeah,
that's hilarious.
yeah, it's funny because when I did the one at my job now, no, I'm sorry. My previous job, when I worked at the warehouse, I don't know if I told you the story of when I had to do the drug test. They do random drug tests, and it's usually when they suspect somebody, and then they would just throw in a few people so it doesn't look as bad. And a lot of times, like I remember my boss came up to me and he's like, "Hey, we're probably going to throw you in this drug test because we know you're fine." And I'm like, okay.
Like,
So-
Good to know.
He
Yeah,
put
yeah.
me in one of them, and they're like, "All right, drug test," and I go up there, and you're waiting. So they go, "All right, come into the bathroom." I'm like, "Okay." I walk in, and this lady's behind me, and I'm like, "What's this lady doing?" She's like, "All right, I'm gonna stand back here,"
Oh yeah,
and she's like, "And don't worry, I'm
Also,
gonna."
They don't see you
So they don't see
switching
it. Yeah.
switch.
So here's the thing, though. They give you a cup, right, to pee in. She also tells you, "I need you to put your left hand up and leave it up."
Oh really?
So you have to leave your left hand up and pee into the cup for the drug test. It took me like 30 minutes. It was terrible. And then I had no clue what a shy bladder was until that moment. I couldn't do it.
Dude,
Because she was right behind me.
I would.
I-
It was just the weirdest. And I remember being like, and I told him, like, listen, I'm sorry. I can't.
Like,
This is just
you
weird.
done like riding your bike. You know, look, no hands.
Well,
Oh, my.
the first time I ever did one was for my high school for basketball at JBS.
Really?
Yeah, we had to do one. I don't know
I
if it
didn't
was
know
a
that.
drug test or we just had to pee in a cup. I assume it was
Well,
a
they
drug
probably
test.
do tests.
Yeah. So I didn't know how to do it.
Steroids.
So
They were making sure you weren't taking any steroids.
me at a freshman, at like 5'2", 200 pounds. Look at this athlete over here.
We definitely gotta get a sample from him.
Yeah. So I remember doing it, and I go into the bathroom, and I didn't know how to do it, so I set the cup on the ground and just tried, knocked the cup over, started peeing on the floor, and then I ended up like going back up. It was terrible.
Covered the whole cup. Oh my
Oh
word.
yeah, like I started, and of course it's just a plastic cup, so as soon as you hit it, just falls over.
Yeah.
So then I'm just like, I'm a freshman. I felt so dumb.
That sounds like a terrible job having to get
Urine sample.
samples. Yeah, and having to just like stand behind guys as a lady, dude. That would be terrible.
Well, I'm like, why don't you have a guy in here at
I have
least?
no
Like,
idea.
it's just,
I don't even know if I want a guy behind me.
Yeah, no.
and especially nowadays.
What's the worst job you've ever had?
Worst job.
And you can't say
can't.
pastor.
I was gonna you beat me to it. I was gonna say don't say
Yeah,
pass.
actually, that'd probably be the worst. But I tell you what, I
Being a
worked
dad.
in a warehouse.
Yeah.
Teamster, hated the job with everything, but there was a period of time where I operated forklift, and I worked on my section,
Mm.
and I would fill the conveyor belts with they would fill the orders like toothpaste. You would put a case of toothpaste, and they would take it out and fill it.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that was the only time I loved my job, and I loved going to work every day. And I could have done that 30 years.
Really?
But then I ran into the conveyor belt with the
Forklift.
forklift, and they took me off and threw me in the tobacco cage. And
Just-
then I
just
hated
like
my job
that?
after that.
Man.
Huh?
Was it bad? Your wreck? It wasn't just an accident though.
It knocked the. It's like those rollers. They're like this wide, and they
Yeah.
got wheels on them.
Yeah.
And
We
it
had 'em at-
knocked it
at-
out of the thing, and they had to shut it down and fix it. But I didn't go tell them I did it. They knew I did it. It was right in my section.
Oh.
And a guy's laughing at me, going, "Dan, you got to go tell him." I can't go tell him. You got to go tell them. So I go in, and I remember his name was Dave. I go, "Dave, I'm the one that hit it." He didn't say a word. The next thing I know, the next day I'm in the tobacco cage working.
That's
So I was
really
cutting
unforgiving.
I was
Like,
cutting cigarette boxes, loading them, went back to hate my job. But I could have done that for 30 years.
Could you
Because everybody left you alone. Long as you did your job,
Yeah.
nobody complained. So I loved it. I absolutely love my job.
Could you have gone 30 years without a mistake though, like that?
No, but that
but
was
it was
a big
too.
one.
It
And
was too early.
I don't know if I was the greatest worker. I don't
Yeah.
know.
My brother Ben.
That time I did. I was working hard then.
My brother Ben actually did. He was running a forklift in like a HVAC supply warehouse or
Ben?
something like that. Ben was
Oh.
in Idaho for a little while, and you can go pretty quick on those things. It was like a standing one.
Yeah, stacker.
Yeah, and it had like a pole that sticks out.
Yep.
He was going too fast around a corner, and he poked through this wall. And there's office cubicles on the other side of it.
That's bad.
He just shot it right through.
I was so bad. Probably in a good testimony, but I remember we would.
You were unsaved, right?
No.
Oh, all right. I probably should.
Working. We would get into what do you call it? Those little not the forklifts that raise the forks way up. They're just you pick a pallet up on them.
Yeah,
and
pallet
you
jack.
We
Like
do
a pallet
races
jack?
around the warehouse on them. You know.
Oh,
we'd go
yeah.
slow
Yeah.
and crash each other and stuff.
We when I worked at Hackney, we had forklift, which when you get good at a forklift, it is a great job.
I love
because
my
you
job.
could just. I mean,
So-
and I got
Yeah.
good. I got good enough to where they would start. They really started trusting me. Like my boss would, and you're not allowed to do this, but my boss would be like, "Hey, lift me up there." He just stand on one of the forks, hold on, and you just lift him up.
Yeah.
But sometimes that was freaky when you
Mhm.
have your boss like. And you remember the picture I sent you of the forklift? They painted my name on it. Remember that?
Kinda, yeah.
They painted my name. It said snowmobile on the back. And
That's amazing.
on the back of that forklift. That was my forklift because I used it. I was one who always used it.
Yeah.
But that thing was a heavy duty forklift, and they said it was even older than me. It was like
Yeah.
a 30-year-old forklift, but
Really.
it would go up like 3 stories.
That's amazing.
It was really
Wow.
cool. But the funny thing is that one was made to put the cases of water, for a lot of things. But when we would get pallets in of water and we had to put them on the highest ones, you'd use that forklift.
Yeah.
And I realized why when I used a different one and I had a pallet of water and I lifted it up as high as it could go and the forklift moved up
Oh
because the
man.
balance of and that scared me to death.
That's
When you go to the forklift and you go all the way up with the water, all of a sudden the forklift tips up. I was like, and they were like, "That's why you use the other forklift." I'm like, now I know. Never
too
doing that
late
again.
then, dude.
Oh yeah, it was cool.
Worst job I ever had was in a warehouse when I was
When
I was-
warehouse job.
Kind of
Yeah.
all of that, yeah.
That
when I
warehouse,
was
yeah.
in New Jersey at going to Bible college. It was for a craft company, and so these boxes would come down this conveyor belt, and you had your own conveyor belt.
Okay.
And they'd come down and they stack up, and you had to take them off and put them on a pallet and pretty much play Tetris and stack a pallet above your head, and then they'd wrap it in like saran
foil.
wrap.
I did that.
And
yeah.
and like
Yep.
these boxes, dude, it was the most stressful job because your conveyor belt will get stacked up, and you're trying to
keep
get.
up, yeah.
And I was kind of a perfectionist about it. And these are the most odd shaped boxes you could possibly imagine. Like they're sending stuff down like this, and it's like a massive box, but it weighs like a pound. And then they'll send like
Yeah.
a pot down, and it's like tiny, but it weighs like a ton. So you have to go with weight, and it was like
We did that. We had to stack them, and then when it was Christmas season, you wouldn't even put on a pallet. You had to hand stack the truck and
Crazy.
pack it because
Yeah.
it wouldn't fit.
Yeah.
It was so stressful. I
Yeah.
hated, I
Where was
hated
that
it.
in Jersey? You went to Clark's, right?
Yep, I went to Vision.
Because I when I worked out there, I almost went to his church.
Really,
I did a lot of work in Jersey.
I don't
And,
know. It
Oh,
was
you mean recently?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
last
forgot. I was
3
like-
years. I've been in
Oh.
Philadelphia area 3 times,
Yeah.
twice.
it was in Berlin.
Yeah, I remember. I looked him up, and he wasn't real far, but I didn't go.
Mm.
But I thought about it. It's so hard when you're traveling. I don't feel like looking for a church that I would, what
Like
I
every
mean?
time, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I almost went there.
yeah.
I met his dad one time years ago.
He's a really good guy.
Clark, Brother Clark, right? Is it-
Senior, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Because isn't his son? Isn't he like travel? Isn't he a traveling or no?
Mike is, yeah. They sing. Mike is the.
yeah.
So they got Charlie, and then Mike.
Oh, was Mike the traveler?
boy.
one?
Mike's the traveler. No, that's this. Those are the 2 sons, and then Mike Jr. is Mike Clark. Yeah, it's
Okay.
confusing. So the
Charlie
dad.
Clark's the one that preached at camp, right?
Yes.
But he doesn't travel, does he?
He does some, but not as
Well,
much.
I
As,
mean,
not as
like-
much as Mike. Mike's his younger brother is the one that does all the singing and traveling.
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I just
And then
wondered.
his kids are the ones that are on the CDs.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
They have a lot of followers and stuff
And Charlie's
Like-
Kids, yeah.
for a Christian group. Like
They
they're
do.
pretty big,
They do, yeah.
which is great. It's just crazy when I look at like the subscribers and stuff, and I'm like, they have as much as like other like Christian rock bands. More. Like
I know,
I'm
yeah.
like, man, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I
You've
don't
been
know,
listening to a lot of Christian rock bands lately.
exactly.
looking
Yeah.
at the leaderboards, seeing who's winning.
I remember when in high school I had like my bad music, and I got into like classic rock, 80s, 90s, and I realized
Which,
where
if that's what
and-
if you're going to get into something, that's a good one to get into.
I showed you that list like a couple years ago, and Dad was
couldn't
like,
believe you.
my dad was. I remember you
I
saw
had
the
no
list, and my
clue.
dad's going down, going, "It's a good song." That's, and then he's like, "Well, Daniel, if you're going to be a heathen, at least you're doing it right."
let me give you my philosophy on that. I have a guy that I trained on my job. He likes beer so much, but he doesn't drink beer anymore because he was a drunk.
Mm,
He got saved, but he drinks near beer, no alcohol,
yeah.
and because he loves the taste of beer. Well, I'm not drinking beer unless I have the effects of beer,
Right, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and I'm not
yeah.
drinking coffee unless I have caffeine.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
seriously.
Yeah, it's true.
And I'm not listening to Christian rock. If I'm gonna listen to rock, I'm listening to that's my philosophy.
There
Yeah.
you go.
You give me the real stuff, or I'll take. I like just the typical old hymns, old
Yeah.
fashioned or not. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember, but I just remember listening to that, and then I realized I got it from you, though.
I never,
why
you
I
never
liked it.
listened to that.
No, I'm saying
Oh.
like I
Your
liked it,
taste.
and yeah, my taste of music
Okay.
I probably got from you. I thought it was just funny. I
Well,
remember that.
It was because your teachers were listening to Queen or something, weren't they? You started getting introduced to it, or what? At
I
school.
don't. I'm trying to remember.
I used to
honestly.
think. I used to freak out about this. And I'm like, you can't. Did you? I don't know if you can say if your dad listened to this. Did you have any struggles with that or no?
No.
Music.
Well, I mean, with
Music.
that, it's he never did.
Did
You're
you?
asking about me? Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm not.
Your
condemning
dad
or not?
Did
I'm
your
just
dad
asking.
ever? We didn't have a phone.
I don't think so. No.
It's kind of hard nowadays because you have access.
No,
as soon
I'm
as you
just
get a-
wondering-
Yeah.
No, I definitely did. Yeah.
Okay.
You just get influenced by everybody
Anyway.
around you. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could even go to stores now and hear a song that you like.
Ever
Mhm.
tell you about my rock music experience?
No.
What do you mean?
The
Did you
Lord,
ever-
well, the Lord, when I got saved, I knew I had to get rid of it.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I told you that story.
No, I heard John. This is a good story.
I wanna
So
hear that.
I knew I had
Yes,
to get rid of
yes.
those CDs, and I go, okay, well, and this is before I came to Hope, and there was a big against rock music movement going on.
hmm
You didn't have to have a movement; you knew it was wrong.
Yeah.
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I went. I was listening to it, and I was going to this rock seminar at WPOS, so
Oh,
the
okay.
radio station in Toledo, and I was going
Oh.
to it, and I said, okay, well, I've got 6 months. I'm going to keep listening because I knew the Lord was going to make me give it up. I knew it.
yeah.
So, but then, like, it's like a diet. You know, you're starting Monday, so you eat like a pig. the
Yeah.
day
So you eat
before.
like a
Yeah.
So I've just listened to music. I loved it. I think that year Bon Jovi came out with a new album, and I loved it.
Mm.
Bought the CD, but I knew I was going to have to destroy it the next 2 months. So
That's
I
amazing.
go to the rock seminar, and the Lord was just His hand was on me.
Mhm.
I've told you to get rid of that stuff.
yeah.
So I was in my car listening to music, and my Aunt Bonnie come. We were going to Hope. Oh no, we started going to Hope then. This is after I got rid of everything. I started listening to it again.
Oh,
Mm.
She picks me up. She goes, "Dan, your car was broken into." And I
Really?
get there, and I had a nice Pioneer Super Tuner bomb bass in there, subwoofer,
Yeah.
and I just went, "The Lord took it." I'm listening to music again. She just looked at me like really funny. I
that's
go,
amazing.
so I go, okay, Lord. So I didn't get another.
Yeah.
I didn't buy another one for a little bit.
Mm.
And I go, I'm not going to listen to rock music. I'll listen to jazz.
Mm.
Listen to some Christian and some jazz. Well, you can only do that so long. By the time exactly a year goes by, I'm back into it,
Mm.
and my same car, same place, got broken into, and the radio got stolen.
Oh,
and
my.
The amp got stolen, and I go, oh, and my insurance went up.
Oh man.
And I go, okay, Lord, I get it.
Crazy.
So I've always had a fear, but that's still a
Didn't,
humongous struggle for me.
Didn't
Huge,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I love it.
Yeah.
yeah. Was that probably one of your hardest ones? Was music?
Yeah,
You feel like you were the only. Not that this was easy, but I feel like you stopped smoking.
smoking
easier
was
than
the
most.
hardest, even over
Okay.
music. Smoking was hard.
Yeah.
Mm.
Drinking wasn't hard when I got away from the people.
Yeah, because it's
So
like
it
a
was more
And
of a social
even
thing.
the dope heads I hung with, did that stuff, but I didn't really care for it.
mhm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just did it with your friends.
You did dope? I'm kidding, Dad.
I did a lot of stuff. I won't talk about it. But saying that, no, the music was hard. But
Yeah.
I still struggle today with that.
Really?
Right.
If I'm on a Hero station, man, I just say, oh, whoops. There you go, because I love it. But
Yeah.
it doesn't make me want to go out and smoke a cigarette.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I also realize when you're listening, I like Pensacola's got Christian stations.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Heard
Yeah,
'em?
Yeah.
I love the music on them.
yeah they do.
So I've
yeah.
been listening to them lately, and you can listen to that and then pull up an old rock song, and you can tell what it does to your spirit.
Oh, yeah.
Automatic.
Yeah,
It just does something to your spirit.
yeah.
And, where I'd want to just yell and hoop and holler to, man, I'm wicked.
I heard this. I heard this not analogy, but I heard this illustration for music like that. Someone gave an example of when I forget exactly what time I forget what time frame it was and where, but they talked about when they would hunt for wolves. What they would do is it was in a place where there was snow, and they would bury they would take sharp objects and razor blades and stuff, and they would bury them in the snow, and then they would put blood on top of the snow and like cover the area where they
Really?
buried the razor blades and the knives and stuff.
So they would go dig.
So the wolves would go and lick the blood off the snow, and they would melt the snow down to where they were like licking razor blades and stuff, but their tongues were numb because they were licking cold. And so they wouldn't even know that they were eventually licking their own blood, and they would do it until they would like bleed out.
Really?
Yeah, very interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's like.
And they use that. He used that. It was an illustration in a sermon. Used that illustration for music. How it's like slowly killing you, and you don't even realize it, like hurting your spirit.
Well, you know what? And actually, his Uncle
That's
Gabe,
interesting.
I told him, I said I was struggling a little bit, and I said I'd just listen. I would sit there longer with music.
Mhm.
And I just love guitar solos and that. And he just, out of nowhere, he just looked at me and goes, that's you're playing with an addiction. And it just, I went, yeah, I am. But I've always struggled with that.
But yeah, isn't that crazy how they?
It is.
Yeah.
Now,
once
I
I heard
tell you
that.
the other thing, you watch some of these guys that I listen to where they're at now. With
Oh,
grandpas,
Oh yeah.
grandfathers.
Yeah.
Some of them still look even rougher because they
Yes.
live such a raunchy life, but
Mhm.
it's funny. But that's a great illustration.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. That's interesting.
Well, the music, like in I listen when I'm working. Sometimes I can't listen to word music because I can't do two things at once.
oh,
So I'll just listen to piano, but it brings a peace over me.
Mhm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if you're listening, like even on TV, me and Mom watch a show, and I go, "That's a great tune,"
Yeah.
yeah.
and you're like, but it's fun, but it's dangerous. It
Right.
is.
Right.
And it's not, and you're like, that has nothing to do with God.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you either got it for God or you don't.
Well, it was like a couple of Sundays ago. Your dad mentioned. I can't remember. I just remember he used the example of he said people would talk to him about dancing. You remember?
Okay.
He was
Yeah.
saying like people come up to me and they're just like, well, I just want to dance, in my own home.
Yeah.
And your dad was just like, then do it. Just don't try to convince me it's for the Lord.
Yeah.
He's like, but do it, and don't send me a video or anything of you doing it. He said something like that. And
Don't
I laughed,
post it.
but, like
Yeah,
when
exactly.
when
Don't
he
post
said
it
like
anywhere.
you're gonna do it, okay, do it. Yeah, don't post it anywhere, and don't try to convince me it's for the Lord.
Well,
and I'm like,
they say
yeah.
dancing, but when you look at Herod, it said Herodias danced before Herod. By the time that dance was done, he goes, I'll give you whatever you want. Well,
Mhm.
that wasn't a new Bible. You
Yeah.
understand what I mean?
Yeah.
That was a sensual dance to a man
Right.
versus
Yeah.
David.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very obvious.
Very
When
clear.
people
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
about dance, that dance, he said, I'll give you, what do you want? That dance so affected him, he took the head of a prophet off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Which
That's
is insane.
a fleshly dance. So, yeah, it's
Definitely.
pretty simple there. But
Yeah.
it's what it is.
But then it's interesting because I remember you saying we were in the basement at Dustin's house, and this is when Ken and Bella were just like 2, and there was some song on, and they're both dancing, right? But they don't have a clue what they're doing. They're just
No,
And
they
you-
don't.
and
It's-
you were
the
saying,
rhythm's
like,
in you.
yeah.
Yeah.
You're saying they're just so innocent, like, but they're two 2-year-olds dancing. They're just jumping around,
Yeah.
but they have no clue what they're just having
And
fun.
then
Yeah,
you can
it's
tell
just,
it
That's
affects the
playing.
body.
That's called playing.
yeah,
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 it's
yeah,
playing, but there's a beat to that, and it does something to your body.
It makes them, yeah. We were doing that with Wendy. It's just hilarious to see just the
Watch 'em
innocence
doing
in them.
Yeah.
No,
So I got a segment.
Oh, okay.
I do a lot of shopping on Facebook Marketplace. I'm always looking for deals. You know,
Yeah.
you know how that is. Dan knows a little bit about
I
that.
do a little bit.
So recently, I've been just going through my feed, and it'll give you like your For You options or whatever.
Yep.
And I've just been getting the most random crazy things that people are selling, and I just want to list off a couple of them and some of the titles and whatnot. This one I came across today. It's absolutely insane. The title, the name of, I'll show you the picture over here in a second, but it's called, here's the description: Real Mummified Possum Hand Necklace. Okay. No,
Real mummified possum hand necklace?
Yes. It's okay. Here's the description. This is a beautiful piece. It was created by me. It features a real possum hand holding a coin. It's wrapped and a beautiful statement piece. I can ship this to you. Just let me know. And she wants $40 for it. But here's what it looks like.
Really? Holy cow.
You can just scroll through those
No.
pictures. It's a legitimate possum hand, and it's holding a coin. And it's like a decorative like thing.
That sounds like something you would have to get into that cult you used to go
Oh
to.
yeah, exactly, dude. Look
You're
at
like,
look
show
at
me-
this thing.
So
What
yeah, you
in
go up
the
to the door, show me
world?
your possum hand.
That's
Yeah. That's the password. You got to have your possum hand on you. That was one of the
weird.
that was one of the craziest ones I've seen. I was like, what on
So
earth?
when's it coming in?
Yeah, I know, right? I got one. I got one shipping to
I
me.
want to see like wear like a necklace. I want to see
What
that.
did she do with the other 3 hands? That's my question.
Made more, probably.
Maybe she's got other ones. Here's another
Maybe
one.
it's a collector's thing. You can get all 4. You collect the whole possum piece by piece.
Okay, here's another one. No title. It is a motorcycle casket trailer. It has independent torsion bar suspension. This is the 3rd one I built. It's built to last. Do not even know if it's behind a bike. Or wait, I don't know what that
Motorcycle
means.
Casket?
It's a casket, yeah, and it's got just wheels.
Oh, so it's a casket.
He
but
wants
it's a
he wants
oh.
$1,800 for it.
What would you use?
A casket on wheels to tow behind a motorcycle.
That would be kind of cool.
What
What would you
That would
use it for, though?
Would you just lay in there?
Your your luggage and stuff. I think that'd be cool.
It would be funny to like because people.
No, I think if you had
Like-
a motorcycle and you're traveling
Yeah,
and pulling that would be hilarious.
you might get pulled over. I don't know.
The
No.
funny thing is that if you do,
You
and,
open
like,
it up and you got suitcases.
You've been living in
That's what
Florida
I'm
for a long time. That's a Florida man thing to
the funny
do
thing
right
is,
there.
like, could you imagine like pulling into a gas station and you get out and you need something out of your coffee and people are just staring at you like because they're
Oh,
they're
that
seeing
would
you
be
about to
nice.
open it.
Think about it. That would be fun.
It would be
You
fun.
pull up to a gas station, you're getting gas. Everybody's looking.
Oh,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
you just go over there looking around, open it up, and get your clothes out. Or,
You know what I would do?
Yeah.
You know what I would do? I'd go over, people are looking at me, be like, "How you doing? I'm dead."
Just have an arm hanging out of
Yeah,
it,
I have an arm.
dude.
Well, I told you the story of arm hanging out. Did you hear the story of when I worked as a security guard and I had to move a couple dead bodies?
Oh my!
I had to help with that.
How?
Did I tell you this story?
No.
Have I told the story?
No
I
way.
have had to move a couple dead bodies, and a couple times it was I had to help the coroner, or
Where were you working?
as a hospital as a security guard.
Oh, okay, so you're at a hospital.
So,
Makes
yeah.
sense.
So I go to one, and it was a really big. It was sad. It was a really big guy, young guy, who killed himself,
Man,
which was horrible. But I remember, we get there, and he was already dead, but they wheeled him in, and
yeah,
and he was already dead, but they had to bring him to the hospital to pronounce that he's dead.
Yeah.
And the family came. It was really sad, but so this isn't funny, but it is. So I go in, and they're gonna zip him up in that bag.
Yeah.
Well, he was a really big guy, so we're kind of having trouble, and you kind of had to push him in to zip it up.
it's like a suitcase situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like we're getting him in, so I'm on one side of it, and I get his arm in,
Uh-huh.
and they come, and then the family comes, and they're like, "Can we see him one more time?" And we're like, "Well, hold on, we're kind of getting him getting him set up, so I get his arms folded up on his chest, right, instead
Yeah.
of like hanging down. They want him like folded up.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do this because I'm holding the mic. So we get his arms in, and I'm standing there, and I'm looking this way, and all of a sudden his arm. And it hits me.
Oh
and
my
I was, and
goodness!
I did that. My legs buckled. Like I
Oh,
went
my
because
goodness!
his arm like hit me and like the side with my pants on. But like you can't like smack it or anything because their family's right there.
That's
know.
terrifying.
But like that made me like I'm like getting his hand back. Oh, I hated it.
I don't know. I could not imagine moving bodies like
I get
that.
used to it.
Yeah, what you
I had a
get?
guy tell me when you move bodies, they'll have air in them.
Yeah,
And the
yeah.
guy was telling me the story. And
He was Chris Fugit.
I work with him, and he's moving a
Oh.
dead body. And when he did it, they picked it up, and you had to have. It's one of those deals you have to have him tell the story because you laugh so hard.
Oh yeah.
But he said when they just moved him enough, he went. All the air
Oh
came
my
out. He
goodness.
said, "I went running." It was just really funny.
Oh man, that
Dude,
that
the
would
the
make
story was
me.
hilarious. But,
Yikes,
Yeah, that
dude.
Well,
would
I
be
remember one time. Of course, they told us like, "Hey, apparently they had to amputate a guy's foot. There's a foot downstairs in the freezer." so me and the other guard are like, "We got to go see if there's a foot in the freezer." So we go
So
downstairs.
you go down there. Like, what are you doing here? Just
And
to
there's-
check in
No,
security?
there's nobody in there.
Oh man.
So we just go in and we open the freezer up and there's a bag.
oh my
Did
goodness.
Grab
you
the-
look?
Grab the bag. You grab the bag. You grab the bag. No, you grab the bag. Put gloves on. Oh, it's a foot. It's a real foot. It's a real foot. It was a foot.
Really?
That's
So they
insane.
saved the foot since they amputated
I don't.
it?
Yeah, I don't know if they saved it or if it's like.
I think
you
they sent
freeze
it-
to decompose of it later. I don't know.
They probably sent it to this lady, and she's gonna make a piece out of it. Decorative, a
Instead of
decorative
a possum foot, we're gonna have a human foot.
dude.
But I had to help move an older guy that passed away once. That was weird because they put him in that freezer thing, so like his body was just it was stuck like crumpled up.
Oh,
That was
that's weird.
I did
I-
not get paid enough for that
Mom
job.
called my dad did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even. I was in Chicago. So you had to go poke him to see if he was dead. Your poor mother.
no.
Your poor mother.
Then she had to
Like,
wait.
why does that happen to your mother?
I
It shouldn't
know.
happen to me.
Yeah. Man.
And then
one time I was doing some work. I think it was flooring actually. I was doing flooring in a nurse or what do you call it? Funeral home.
oh
yeah.
okay,
What do you call that? Is it a
you
funeral
talking
home?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was doing work in there, and it was dark. I mean, like we were doing stuff in the hallway, and the door was cracked, and I remember walking by, and I just like glanced, and it's just like the dark like auditorium area, and all I see is like just the nose like sticking up, and I'm like, "There's no way." I said, "There's no way," and I went by and like peeked in there, and there was just a body chilling in there. I'm like, "That is insane."
I mean
That's the
they're not-
closest I've ever been to a dead body, beside like outside of a funeral.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. But that was crazy, man. I mean, he's whispering to shut it down. He's
No,
whispering,
no.
"I
We
want
don't,
to
we don't
shut
have
down."
like 3
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
went an hour.
we just tried to go an hour.
Jacob
yeah, that's it.
texted me. That's why I'm asking.
Oh man!
Yeah.
And you know he's probably got some good
Or
food.
eating dinner.
He's got some good food
Yeah.
waiting.
Well, now that he's got that
Are you
smoker
going-
and
are
griddle,
you going with me?
yeah, I'm going with you.
Okay.
We'll
got
probably
smoker.
we'll talk about this after. but
But I'll do one more. Facebook find. That hand one was crazy. All right, so I got here Facebook ad on Facebook Marketplace. The title is "Free Book of Mormon," and I'm pretty sure it's a Mormon guy, and his description is: "The Book of Mormon is another testament of Jesus Christ and contains the restored gospel of Jesus Christ and the blessings that come along with it. I'd love to give you one and possibly talk about it too." So if you're looking for a book.
you should take it.
I'll start. I might bring this up on the next segment, but I'll send a message to him. But yeah, he's got a nice picture of him holding it here.
He's got
So
a picture of him holding it.
yeah. So if you want a Book of Mormon,
Oh, that's
Facebook
amazing.
Marketplace is your spot.
So what happens to that lady with that possum hand? And you go, "Could you get me 4 more of them?" What happened?
I know.
I don't know.
Don't you wonder?
I got a
wonder.
message her. It's the creepiest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
I'm curious, like what else she makes. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'll look at her profile really quick.
I
See
don't know
if
if
she's
you
got.
should look at her.
Yeah.
Oops! I accidentally sent her a friend request.
Oh, it looks like she's selling a lot more weird items. Assorted animal teeth pendant. Yeah, so it's a pendant with a bunch of animal teeth in it.
That is so
Well, you had
weird.
to take the teeth out of the animal.
Yeah, who
Yeah.
knows? A real raccoon bone keychain. Yeah, so she's definitely into the more
Sounds like a hexing, like one of those weird
artsy
witchcraft.
Not for me.
type- None of that stuff.
animal vertebrae necklace. That looks terrifying. And then she's selling some boots as well. She has a grave in her profile picture, so I'm not
Did you-
surprised.
Did you, when you were a teenager, did you guys ever do any type of dumb stuff like mess with a Ouija board or anything
No,
like
I
that?
had my sister did the Ouija thing. And it was real.
Really?
Not huge into it, but she did it. She told me. And then
Ugh.
my dad dated a girl. Her daughter. They would go to the graveyard,
Okay.
set a recorder in there, set a tape a cassette recorder in there, hit play, and then leave,
Really?
and then go listen to it afterwards. And you hear these really weird noises in this thing. And I go, I don't want to hear it.
My
And that's when I
goodness.
was unsaved. I'm like, no, you don't have to tell me that stuff, man.
That's crazy.
That would, to me, that would be freaky.
That
Can
is
you imagine just taking your phone, leave it in a,
graveyard.
I wouldn't want to do that.
and just let it go for 2-3 hours? Oh,
We should
You know
do a
what?
podcast in a graveyard.
We could. I mean, we've done it in so many different locations.
So-
It take us 25 years to set up, but
yeah.
I never liked that stuff. You didn't either.
no, man.
Me and Becca?
I never liked scary movies.
Nope.
I didn't like any of that stuff.
Me and
Either laugh
Becca.
or
It's the
maybe
perfect time to have this type of podcast too.
Me and yeah. Me,
October.
yeah. Well, the funny thing is, Becca and I would talk about how, like her friends would like want to watch scary movies, and she hated them, and I hate them too. I'm not a scary movie fan.
Yeah,
Kate,
I never
Kate
have
likes
been.
them.
man.
But the funny thing is, the scary movies that I have watched now, the ones that freak her out are like the satanic ones. Type,
Oh, yeah.
and we don't really like those anyway. I'm like, I don't like them, but they actually don't freak me out as much. I'm sorry, they do freak me out. My bad. Those ones freak me out. The ones of like the suspenseful somebody gets kidnapped type ones.
Yeah,
yeah,
those
those
don't
are-
freak me out.
no, not
Even
at all.
though those are more likely to happen.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
Yeah,
those-
But like
right.
those don't freak me out. Like I think it's because I always said like if someone's gonna try and kidnap me and you're gonna try and lug this into a van, you earned it. You're fine.
you
If
earned
you
it.
want to pick all of this up and kidnap it, you earned it.
they drag you far enough and go, let's get somebody else. He's
Right, that's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I'm not
Goodness.
carrying this guy around.
Yeah, I've never. The only like really weird experience I've had is like I would get sleep. What's that called? Where you like
Is it where you're slightly awake thing?
Yeah.
I've had that happen. It's not fun.
I can't remember what it's called.
There's a term. If I'm thinking of the right thing, is it where you're awake but your
You're-
dreams are happening?
No, it's where you're like
Oh.
heavy and you can't move. Sleep. What's it called? Something. But it was right around the time where like some of my friends and I watched a bunch of like scary movies, like a series or whatever. And then I would like that stuff would happen to me, and I was just like, no way,
No,
man.
I watched The Wizard of Oz. I was 5 years old, and that witch would do that
Laugh.
pretty, and I freaked at 5-year-old, and that changed my whole life.
Yeah.
And then I can remember the dream I had of that witch. I remember the dream. 5 years old,
Still remember
coming down on a broom with my mother, trying to fly past the front door
Oh
to
my
get
goodness.
past the witch. And right when we get to the witch, she goes, yee hee. And I remember
And you
waking
just-
up as a little kid, Mom, and I just, no, that's not for me.
Sleep paralysis is what
Oh,
it's
I
called.
couldn't believe it.
man.
So I
Oh,
never
sleep
liked that.
paralysis, Okay.
I still hear that witch day. It gives me creeps.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
but that's fine. I am not a scary movie fan.
No, none.
I'd
not at all.
rather laugh.
Not at
Yeah.
all. Yeah, that's
It's-
so true.
it's-
It's
yeah,
better to laugh.
I'd rather laugh.
I
Yeah.
I
don't
hope I
get
die laughing.
because some people. But some people love scary movies. Like they
No, they
love
do.
that thriller.
Yeah.
That
Did Amanda watch the scary one? Did your sisters?
No.
was any.
None of you guys
None of
did?
your family was into it, right?
No.
We didn't.
We.
though.
I think.
don't think Mandy even. I don't think any
growing
of us
up.
did.
I think growing up as a Christian, there's more of a weight to that kind of stuff. I think as a
You're
lost
right.
person, as it's like something to mess around with.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
some people-
You
Some
know
people are into the spirits or whatever. You don't necessarily have to be. But as a Christian, growing up as a Christian, you know that there's a spirit world. And
Yeah, yeah.
You
don't
have
wanna touch
you
it.
have more of a respect for it. I feel
Yeah,
like
you do.
Yeah.
so.
Like I would never, ever want to mess with a Ouija board, anything like that.
No, I mean, I don't think it would work.
Aunt Sue. I have to ask her.
Really?
Because I remember her having it in her
And
closet.
did it freak
But
her
they
out?
don't know what they're messing with. We
Yeah.
know now.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
But that stuff is real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Sure, that's real.
And now you're not. You're like, I don't want anything to do with. Oh man.
No,
Yeah.
not for me.
Like-
I see him at Goodwill sometimes. They
Yeah,
just they'll
yeah. I've
be
seen it
like,
in Goodwill.
yeah,
You
it's
know,
like-
but you were never into that stuff, even when you were unsaved. You didn't.
No.
Right.
Just I dated that girl. It took me that one thing, but no.
that's crazy. I'm gonna look into it. I've never heard of that before.
It was big then because when I was watching Summer Club, they were talking about different cult. They didn't call it cult, but different practices, and
Yeah.
table tapping was one of them.
Is that
And
like
how
a
the table
séance
will
basically?
rise and all that.
Is that like a séance basically type
yeah,
thing?
you could call it. I would call it that. But there was like the one boy. I remember the mom was down there. The late girl I was dating's mother, and the brother was. There was like 15 people, if I remember right.
Really? Wow.
I remember the boy loved it. Her son thought this was the coolest thing, and I'm going, dude, you realize what we're doing here? You know, I
Yeah.
was unsaved, but
Yeah.
I knew it was real. But I don't. You're unsaved.
Yeah.
I know there's a devil. I know if I tell the devil, you give me what I want, I'll serve you. I knew that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But then, there was a Methodist lady that really prayed for me when she found out what I was doing.
Really?
Aunt
Oh,
Bonnie
really?
Aunt Bonnie told me that.
Yeah.
Wow.
The Methodist church on McCord. No, South.
Yeah.
Somewhere over there.
I feel like Aunt Bonnie would be a really interesting person to have on this podcast, just to get
She
into her
was-
past.
Well,
'Cause
she
you-
was right. Yeah, they had a rough life.
Well, you said she was a tough, like very different person.
She
of
had
course.
tattoos when she was 18 years old, back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
yeah.
woman had, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she had them removed. She got scars.
Really?
This is
Yeah.
interesting because
She has stories I don't want to know,
Oh, probably. Yeah. Yeah.
and nobody knows the transformation she had. I know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say
But
she
I would
said
never tell it when she dies. I'll tell it.
Yeah.
If
Well,
she
you-
listens to this, sorry, bud.
At her funeral, you should. Just
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
a couple things
No,
I
I
want to
wouldn't
share.
do that to her.
Oh man.
Well,
Yeah,
you-
she was definitely
You've told us before, like there's things you just can't bring up,
no,
and
But-
which makes sense.
but she had the greatest
And she did,
transformation.
Hmm.
Of
and she probably was the one that saw you transform the most, right?
Oh, she did.
probably
yeah.
because we're. When did you get saved? You were 21, 22?
I was 20. A month before I was 21. 2 months before I was 22.
So you weren't with your parents. You weren't with your parents as much, right?
I was living with mom at that time. I moved back home.
Okay. So when you got saved, did your mom and dad care at that
they
time?
hated it. I would
they
look at
hated it?
mom and
Really?
I'd go, the Bible teaches you shouldn't have divorced. So that's when mom said, you got to get out. And then dad,
That's what you said to her.
oh yeah, I was all over. I got so mad they divorced when I got saved. I said that was a sin, and I was an idiot.
Oh my.
And then dad knew I got saved because I was talking about the Lord all the time, and then he said, "Don't you dare preach to me," and I did.
Yeah.
But he got saved.
Yeah. Did you know that, my grandpa?
Didn't he pass away
He-
recently?
He passed last year.
Last year,
it
yeah.
was
This year.
Father's Day. It's weird.
How long did he fight you until he'd let you talk about the Lord? Really?
I was always, when he heard me preach.
We'll end on this.
Okay, when he
Mhm.
heard me preach, the last time I preached,
Was it Ivis last time you heard you preach?
Ivis,
Yeah. I remember
he
that.
was bawling. I think he was proud, more like bawling because he was proud of his son, what he was doing.
Yeah. He was crying.
But I
John,
thought
not
he
playing ball.
wanted to get saved.
Yeah.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I took
remember
him in
that.
the office, and your mom goes, he wants to get saved. Well, when I took him in the office, I said, Dad, are you ready to get saved now?
Mhm.
And then after all those tears and everything, he just go, and he looked at me, and they got left.
Yeah.
He didn't say anything. Well, then I guess he got in the car and he just cussed up a storm.
Oh really?
They
Yeah.
never, my parents never, they get mad at my sister and tell her, but they would never do that with me for some reason.
Yeah. You said he got into it a few times with Aunt Sue, right? But Aunt Sue
He
went
got
back at
into
him.
it with Uncle John one time, but then the
Oh,
last time
oh.
I talked to him 3 or 4 years ago, I brought it up. First time I really brought it up in 30 years. He heard me preach like 5, 6 times.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's heard the gospel. He listened to Christian. He loved Southern gospel.
And he
Mhm.
started going to church, didn't he?
And he started going to church on his own. Yeah, he did. But he wouldn't come with me.
Mhm.
It was like one of those proud deals, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
which I didn't care.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Yeah.
going there, who cares?
Yeah.
And then he, when I asked him, he just stood up in his seat like this. He said, "Yeah, I did." I just sat there.
Really?
I thought I was burying my dad knowing he was in hell. I never thought he'd get saved.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
never,
mean, I remember
never thought my dad would get saved.
because that was just what 4 years ago, 3
Yeah,
years ago.
and then he said, "I go, you accepted Jesus Christ in your heart?" And he goes, "Yep." I go, "What?" He goes, "He did. Yeah, he went just like this. It's in the book."
Wow.
He said, "Where would that come from?" My dad saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That term. It's in the book.
Yeah.
And I just went, wow. So then for the next 2 days, I kept talking to your mom going, I think he really got saved.
Yeah.
I was just so stunned.
Yeah.
Because mom thought he was going to cuss me out.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
said, I want to know where you're going when you die, Dad. I want to know.
Mhm.
And that's when
It's-
it was cool.
Oh
That's
yeah.
cool, man.
It's
So
amazing.
now I
to
got
see
the only person not saved is my aunt, Judy,
Aunt
Mhm.
Judy. She's
Yeah.
in Florida, right? Aunt Judy, right?
in Florida.
It's amazing because with the story of Grandpa, because I remember praying for him. Right? We'd always pray that
Oh, yeah.
Grandpa would get saved.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
And honestly, we all got to the point where we're like, he's just not going to, which isn't the right attitude. But at the same time, you're like,
Well, you give up. I don't care who you are. You're human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My best man that I went and talked to,
yeah,
I almost give up.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. I know that.
Right.
I
Yeah.
know that.
but that's why I like telling that story because then I'm like, my grandpa heard the gospel for what the last 30 years. How long have you
yeah,
been saved?
he saw
However,
he saw the change.
yeah.
But yeah,
But it's
and my
amazing.
sister had a good testimony, and
So because you've been saved over 30 years now, right? Right.
yeah, 30. I got saved in 86,
So it's like
37 years.
so 37 years, and he was so your grandpa was just stubborn, right? He didn't want anything to do with that, or I don't know.
He didn't want it. No.
What I mean, was there anything?
His dad was against it. His
That's what I wondered.
grandparents, I'm almost sure, were born again. I'm about 99.9% sure they were saved Christians.
His grandparents.
His mom and my grandpa's mom and dad.
Yeah.
He rejected it.
Oh, I
And
see.
when I witnessed to him the last time around 2000, I was even crying.
Really?
Yeah.
You're talking
And
about
he
to
just
your grandparents?
Stopped talking. He wouldn't do it. So I know what happened there.
You said to your grandparents.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he knew. So I kind of assume it's just going to keep going.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
But Dad got saved.
I find myself.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I found myself being envious of that. Those stories and those victories and stuff because I don't have zero unsaved family. It's crazy.
Oh,
Yeah,
And
what
it's just
that's just horrible how you have no one saved.
I mean, I say that. I say,
no, I know what you mean.
I know
it
what you
sounds
mean.
like a weird thing
No,
to
I
say, but
I
like
do.
it sounds like such a cool thing to pray
Yeah.
for somebody for so long
But
and see them.
I gave up. I just said my dad's going down.
Yeah.
I mean, not that I never wouldn't pray. And every time he came and heard me preach, he said this to me, and I still take this to the grave. He said, "You're the only guy that preaches I want to listen to." And he wasn't saying that because I was his boy.
Yeah.
He was saying it, and I'm not saying I'm not being myself like, yeah, they're a good preacher. I don't mean that. You be a straight shooter. He listened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I learned that just be a straight shooter. I got a couple
Yeah.
people down. I don't get asked to preach, but I got a guy down in 2 or 3 families down in the church where they go, "You're a preacher." I go, "That's all I want.
Yeah.
That's it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my dad, you would preach to him and you wouldn't hold back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he did.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, we can end. There's so much more we could talk about.
I know, man.
And that I really want to talk about, but I understand we probably need to go. But that's a good note to end on is Grandpa, because that's amazing that how much we prayed for Grandpa and never thought it was going to happen.
Yeah.
He gets saved and then dies at 85,
I
has
think
a heart
he
attack.
got saved watching Southern Gospel on TV.
Mhm.
He didn't tell me, how he got saved, but
Yeah.
he loved Southern Gospel music and he would just listen to it. Well, they talk in
Yeah.
between their songs.
Yeah.
I don't
He'll
watch
probably
it.
have messages in
So
between.
in the gospel, independent Bible believing premillennial fundamental Baptist. Sorry, it was a 700 Club got me saved, not you.
Yeah.
I'm not being mean to that. I'm just
It's the gospel.
The gospel is the gospel,
Yeah.
and
true.
it's simple.
Yeah.
So-
That's why like people ask the question, can you get saved from verses out of an NIV Bible?
Yeah, you got the right verses. Why couldn't you?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
when you ask somebody, it doesn't say accept Jesus Christ as your personal Savior in the Bible.
Yeah.
Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ. It doesn't say those exact words.
Yeah.
But that's what we tell people.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, the NIV, but
But I'm saying,
No,
but that's what you're
that's
saying.
a whole
like-
nother story.
Yeah. But either way, I love telling the story of my grandpa and then he died. We'd say peacefully, heart attack, just
and I
croaked
asked
over.
the Lord on that. I said, he can't get up. He's 85. He couldn't hardly stand up. And I go, God, he is going to be miserable if he can't get up out of a chair.
Mm-hmm.
And about 2 weeks before he died, I said, Lord, if you're going to take him, just take him.
Yeah.
He's 85 years old. 2 weeks later, he died.
Man.
I prayed that twice.
Really.
Yeah, I
And
told
he did, but he's in heaven.
Yeah.
I never watched him suffer.
Mm-hmm.
He died in a matter of moments.
yeah.
What more can you ask for?
You can,
Yeah.
next
I
time,
cried for one day,
yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. Next time, just pray that mom doesn't find the body.
I'm not saying that.
Yikes.
Yes, if
I told-
something happens to my
and then
mom,
I-
hopefully it'll be me.
And then
Yeah.
I don't want to watch
Yeah.
my mom taking slow breaths. I don't want to
Yeah.
watch that.
Well, I think I remember mom said how hard it was with Aunt Amy when she
That
because
was a
she
horrible
just
death, though. That was
Yeah.
horrible.
yeah
Suffered
that was
for
just
6-7
miserable.
months.
Yeah.
That's not the way to go. The way to go is the heart attack.
Yeah. No.
One
yeah.
of these
All right. This is
to the head. You're out.
oh that kind of hurt.
I know, dude.
Powerful Nerf gun.
Anyways, we probably better end this.
Yeah. No, we better go.
Good thing to know.
Thanks for hanging with us. We got a new buddy on the podcast, so
Yes.
there you go.
You'll have to do it where I just talk. You put the phone here.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's an input.
We could do it.
Like you can do phone calls through that board.
Oh.
I feel like we only scratched the surface of the Snow family.
Oh, especially
you-
with him. Oh
Just
yeah.
scratched the
You got to
surface.
think like we had even Dustin told me. Well, let's end this. Thank you guys for listening.
Yeah.
Let's end this and we can. But Dad, thanks for being on.
Yeah.
There's so many more questions I could ask
Yeah,
and
but-
stuff diving in, especially because he's got so many stories.
Yeah.
'Cause he's old.
But he'll be dead.
He'll be
So-
dead. When he's
so-
dead, I'll tell the horrible stories like you used to do with Aunt Bonnie. Got that, Dad? I said, when he's dead, I'll tell the horrible stories like you're going to do with Aunt Bonnie.
Yes.
All right. See you guys.
See you guys.
Boom.